I'm Gerry Mattern, a retired professor from St. Norbert College, and living a life of leisure and still playing my horn. Thank you.
I'm Mattern, Gerry's wife, and retired public school music teacher, and I'm a cellist, and have been playing with the Green Bay Symphony since I was about a junior in high school. So
Seems only like yesterday. We never had strings at St. Norbert, and I was determined to do something about it. So I decided I would start an orchestra at St. Norbert College.
And you were already teaching at St. Norbert College?
Yes, I was teaching then. We'd be back in 88, 89. And so I recruited people from the college itself and decided to ask some community members that were interested, including my wife Ann, and we had a pretty good sized orchestra at St. Norbert. It was back in about 1995 that the Green Bay Symphony decided to go professional, which meant that they were going to be auditioning members. And I knew that there were people in that orchestra that probably wouldn't like to audition. And I thought this might be a good time to put the two things together. And I talked to Ann and some of the members of our orchestra, and they thought it was a very good idea. And so that really became the core membership of the Green Bay Symphony, the Green Bay Civic Symphony. We didn't call it the Green Bay Civic Symphony yet. The name would come later.
some of the people that were in the St. Norbert String Orchestra, actually it wasn't a string orchestra, it was a full orchestra at the time, were Mary Nielsen and Pat Schleter, who's no longer with us, and Beth Pless played, and as you know, Beth and Mary still play with the Civic Symphony, and they were among those who said, gee, where are we going to play now? Because they chose not to even audition for the professional Green Bay Symphony. And so we did talk about it, and I felt that even if I had made it, which it was probably, I probably wouldn't have, I wasn't that good a player, the fact that they were only going to rehearse during the week of their concert was not something that appealed to me. The orchestra had met more often, the original Green Bay Symphony had met more often during the year, and for those of us who play, we usually need to keep up our skills, and that was one way to do it. So we felt that we wanted something more community-based, so that a lot of people in the community could participate in such an organization.
Yes, and some of the people that helped to develop the bylaws and the mission statement included Ann and myself, Diane Wallace, Betty Brown, Larry Fry. I'm sure there were others. Mary Gerbig. Keith Downey, who's no longer with us. He was very helpful. And I'm sure I missed some names, but there were a lot of devoted, dedicated people willing to work and help organize this new organization.
As Larry Fry told you, we met every Monday night. Every Monday night. And so there was a lot to do. I mean, you had a group of people that were doing publicity, marketing, programming, personnel, the whole bit, the whole bit. And so it started out, and it still is, a working board. And it's the only way that it can exist. And and everybody had a job, and everybody knew what everybody else was doing or not doing, and so that's how we got off the ground. So along with that, I mean, there were things like getting a grant. Don Poe was instrumental in financially putting up
Funds,
the money,
yeah.
the funds, so that we could get off the ground. And we were working on a shoestring.
Anyway, at this point, with the cooperation again and input from many of these original members, I'm just simply going to read a statement here that in regard to the beginning of our Civic Symphony. The Green Bay Civic Symphony Incorporated is dedicated to maintaining a community orchestra. The orchestra's primary purpose is to provide opportunities for musicians in and near the Green Bay community to perform and to further develop their talents as musicians. The orchestra showcases local talent by inviting accomplished musicians residing in and near the Green Bay community to perform as soloists or as small ensembles with the orchestra. And so this meant that we would include anybody that we felt was interested. Along with that, which became important, I want to re-emphasize what Ann said about Don Poe. Without Don Poe's initiatives and backing, I think we would have had a problem even organizing this orchestra. But along with it, he helped in terms of knowing people, asking people who would contribute money that was needed for starting this orchestra. We did audition for that first season. We invited different conductors, deciding who we would want, and I've forgotten some of them, but I know Pat Miles was by far the most impressive. He was our conductor for how many years?
10 years.
10 years now. And he was very, very important to the growth and development of the Green Bay Civic Symphony.
The players really wanted to have a say in how the orchestra was run. And that's a little different attitude or a different fit. And so we had to find a conductor that would kind of fit that mold. But originally the auditioning thing was at the root cause, I would say. It became a word that maybe was behind the flag waving, you know, kind of a thing. And not to say that I don't think even from the get-go there were bitter feelings. Maybe there were for some people, but I never felt that way. I just felt like this was going to be a community group. Well, the other group maybe came in and left, you know. And I know that's not always true, because there are people who play in the Green Bay Symphony that are in town and play all the time. So, but I just felt that we had a place apart, and that both could coexist.